But remember, best practices mean if everybody follows best practices, that means everybody's doing it the same way. Well, if everybody's doing it the same way, why should anybody remember you?
All right, everybody, we're back with Crumbs for Giants, and we have Mick Torbay back. So this
Oh,
is
you
going to
lucky devil,
be
you.
interesting, I guess, is the way I would say it. Mick brought up a comment, a thing the other day. He has a whole he winning the game. I want to talk about winning the game, but specifically from the idea of private equity.
Well, you're somebody who actually understands winning the game, so I shouldn't be teaching you this. You should be teaching me. But what the heck? I'm the guest, so
There we
I'll
go.
jump out.
Why don't
Um,
you do that?
I bring this up because there is an opportunity. Many small businesses or medium-sized businesses are competing against private equity companies or companies that maybe used to be locally owned and are now private equity, and they're going up against them. And that can be pretty intimidating because private equity companies are generally well-funded. They've got those economies of scale. They can very
Yeah.
often buy very aggressively when they're purchasing, because their vendors are afraid of them because they're big and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it can be very,
Yeah.
very intimidating to go up against these private equity guys. But there's a tremendous opportunity when competing against a private equity company, and I'm going to explain why. Private equity companies in general are run by people who operate spreadsheets. They make their money and they build their success based on removing inefficiencies. They go through spreadsheets, they go through line items, and they take the numbers and they make them smaller. Can we do this any cheaper? Can we buy this for less? Do we really have to pay this person, this middle manager? Like, do we really need that person? Can we just fire that person?
Yeah.
And they come at it from a perspective of doing a job. And I know this very specifically because of one particular line item that I'm really familiar with, which is marketing. Generally, what a private equity company will do when they buy a company that has a Wizard of Ads marketing plan,
Yeah.
the first thing they will do is fire us. Now, the reason why they fire us is because they look at that line item and they say, can we get someone to write commercials for less than that? And the answer is, you want to believe it, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They can absolutely do that with 2 phone calls. They can have 3 agencies
All bidding.
fighting with them saying, I'll write your
Yep.
commercials for half of what you were paying those Wizard of Ads guys.
Exactly.
And so they're like, well, so I could take this line item and I could basically cut it in half, and all that extra money, well, that just goes to the bottom line. Look how profitable we are. Look how smart I am. The trouble is they're looking at it from the perspective of someone doing a job, and what they're not doing is they're not thinking of it from a perspective of how do we win the game. See, if the New York Yankees said, can we find somebody who can play baseball and charge less than that guy? The answer is yes, because Matthew will show up and say, I can hit a ball, and he can.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I would totally do it for half the price of anybody on the New York Yankees.
And not just you, literally thousands of people will say, I'll do it for half. I'll do it for a quarter. I'll do it for $100,000. Think of how
Yeah.
much money the Yankees could save by just
Oh
saying,
my
who
God.
will do this job for less than these 9 ridiculous people?
Bozos here,
Right?
yeah.
Now, of course, the Yankees wouldn't do that because they'd say, yeah, we're not interested in filling these positions. We're interested in winning the game. And that is not how private equity thinks. So if you are a small or medium-sized business, watch for private equity to make that mistake, because they do so with shocking regularity. And I don't think it's just because of marketing. There are other aspects of their business where they're not winning, they're just doing the job or filling the position for a lower amount. And you, as a
Oh,
business owner, can see what they're doing and say, yeah, but I'm going to actually hire to win the game.
exactly. I think, okay, so thank you. Like, yes, this is fantastically on point. We know that the PE guys, they come in and they really strip companies down to their parts. right? And that's what you're talking about here is they strip it down to the parts. It's not how is the team working together? How is the organization as a whole doing? They look at it as what's the sum of the parts and what's one of those parts are swappable, replaceable, dumbed downable. And we've seen that obviously, in our industry, we've seen it a bunch of times. We don't just see it from when people buy a small, medium, getting to large size company to then do this from the Wizard of Ads. They also do like we've heard it from other people who said like, hey, I had to turn them down because this was weird, this was gross. They were, they told me this. And then we were able to work with those people because then they decided to win the game against the private equity people. And so I think that's brilliant.
What
If
I'm saying is don't be afraid of them because they're not
Thank you.
winners. They win on efficiency, they win on their spreadsheet, and they might be profitable, but they're not going to win the games because they don't think like baseball coaches. They think like spreadsheet fillers.
Well, they think like accountants. I mean, we talked in a previous episode about hey, listen, if as an accountant, their job is make things affordable, make things accountable, be accountable with the money, and that's all they're looking at. What they're not seeing is what got them there in the first place. What were the actions and behaviors? What was the blood, sweat, and tears? What was the equity that they spent into the brand to get the brand to the size where they were, you know, lucrative,
Absolutely.
where they were attractive to purchase, right?
They had to start from a position of I've got to win because they generally start from nothing and go to pretty big. Well, you have to have a
Exactly.
winner's attitude. It's not just
Exactly.
about filling the positions, getting the job done. It's like, actually, I need to take business away from somebody else. I have to beat my competitor at what he's good at. My goodness, like think of the winning attitude you have to have. You have to be like a person like I'm going to hit another home run right now.
Right.
That's the attitude. But that is
Right.
not how these private
Oh,
equity guys think.
yeah. It's funny. I liken it to there's a saying that I've used in the past, and I've actually talked with Steven Semple, and he's been on the show already, about it's called winning is weird. And what we love about the clients that end up hiring us or that are going out there, they do things that are weird and strange so that they can be noticed and take over their industry in their area.
Sure.
And then when you look at private equity, they're not weird or strange at all. They're very commonplace. They're very by the book, very efficiency minded, super, super safe. We have to make sure that we win internally, not that everybody wins through the whole thing. And so they're not weird. They're actually just common.
No, what they do is they put in best practices. But remember, best practices mean if everybody follows best practices, that means everybody's doing it the same way. Well, if everybody's doing it the same way, why should anybody remember you?
Exactly. Oh man, that's brilliant. Okay, so then if there's a business out there that's approaching a size where they're starting to get reached out to by private equity companies, or if
Or your
there's a
competitor
marketing
is?
or your competitor is, right? What should that company be doing? How should they be thinking?
Well, I mean, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to cash out, then get as much money as you can and disconnect yourself completely from the business because it's not going to be a winner anymore. It's going to be an efficient, uh, middle of the road thing, and they're probably going to fire a lot of your people. If your goal is to have a legacy, consider other options. If there's a big private equity company moving into your town and buying your competitors, understand that there is a path to beat them. Then the path to beating them is by doing something different. When, you zig when they zag, because they will only do what their group of 100 other businesses just like yours is going to do, which means by definition, they can't innovate. They can't surprise. They can't disrupt.
Yeah, exactly.
I look at it as a tremendous opportunity when private equity enters your space.
Oh, I agree. I would even call it an unfair advantage. Like as soon as you know that they're coming in, it's really, really simple. It's stand against everything they stand for. Um,
Yeah.
sorry,
Get ready
it's
to
a cheat.
watch. I mean, certainly watch whatever they're doing successfully with their marketing. That's going to change, guaranteed. But
Oh,
I only say that because I know the marketing really well. I'm sure that all sorts of other decisions that they're making internally, externally, that's all going to change as well. And it's going to move towards the center. It's going to move towards the safety. Why? Because private equity companies are run by committees.
Okay, so I want to just extend this slightly to what about um, not just private equity, because these are big entities, right? Usually private equity, these are big guys. But what about like, the fear of, I'm a small retailer and Walmart's coming into my area, right? Like it's got to be a similar
Well,
play here, right?
very similar in the sense that Walmart is not going to do anything different in your community from the way they do it in Cleveland. So you still have an advantage if you're competing against Walmart. You have an advantage in every um, data point except price. Walmart is probably going to beat you on price. If you beat Walmart on price, do not tell anyone because they won't believe you. You can beat Walmart on 100 other levels, but not price. And bear in mind, your consumer is looking for something other than the lowest price. The transactional consumer just wants the lowest price. The relational consumer is looking to make good decisions. And making good decisions it includes price because you don't want to pay a ridiculous amount. It's not like
Yeah,
price doesn't matter. But
exactly.
you could bring in products or services that Walmart just can't do because, for example, they have to order things by the shipping container rather than ordering something by the case. So you could bring in
Yes.
a local product that the Walmart isn't going to have because their stuff comes from a distribution center in St. Louis.
Yes.
Um, you can hire smarter people. You can hire kinder people because Walmart cannot be that selective about the people that they hire because they need too many of them.
It's
There's
just a
just
churn.
not that
Yeah.
many smart people in your town. It's not like Walmart can hire all of them, right? But you can. So there
Yeah,
are
no,
ways of
exactly.
beating these guys because they can't pivot. They can't correct. They can't react quickly. They react at the corporate level. It's too high up. You can change a whole bunch of stuff today, see if it works. Walmart
Ex
can't do that. It's a
Absolutely.
huge
Yeah.
advantage.
Like turn in the Titanic. Okay, brilliant. So I just want to sum this up real quick. So private equity, if you're competing against private equity, they're coming in, they're buying up your competitors, or they're just moving into your area. You've got an unfair advantage. When they zig, you zag. They are going to dumb down your competitor. They're not going to make them more brilliant. They've never done that with any company they've ever purchased. I don't care what private equity group they are. We've seen it over and over again. And ultimately, being the being the company that cares most for the local area and the people that
Mm,
are there and the employees that you have, it's always going to win you day in and day out. The team that got you to where you're at now is not something to just disseminate because they are expensive. It's something to cherish and hold on to and use and nurture so that they continue to grow you and make you the biggest thing you can be. If you're a marketer or you're a business owner and you want to ask some questions of myself or Mick Torbay, look down in the comments. Mick, thank you. This was awesome. Guys, big shout out to the Wizard Academy. It's kind of our home where we learned a bunch of this stuff when we first came
You
to
too can be as smart as Matthew Burns simply by taking a course at Wizard Academy.
oh my gosh, you can be so much smarter than me. All right, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you coming back out, and
Awesome.
we'll see everybody in the next episode.
Thanks, Matthew.